What if one of the cleverest minds in Greek mythology belonged to a newborn? Hermes is not a god of brute strength or thunder. He is the god of speed, intelligence, communication, and trickery. Unlike other Olympians, Hermes doesn't win through power. He wins through wit. Born to Zeus and the nymph Maia, Hermes enters mythology already different. From the very beginning, his story challenges the idea that greatness requires age or authority. Hermes represents something far more dangerous: intelligence without limits. This is the story of how a single day transformed a newborn into the messenger of the gods and the patron of thieves. Hermes was born in a quiet cave on Mount Cyllene. While other gods were raised among palaces and celebrations, Hermes began his life in isolation. But solitude did not make him weak, it made him observant. From his very first hours, Hermes showed signs of unusual intelligence. He watched, learned, and adapted. In Greek mythology, this type of character is known as a trickster, someone who bends rules instead of breaking them. Hermes does not challenge the gods directly, he outsmarts them. And this ability would soon be tested in one of mythology's most famous acts of theft. On the very day of his birth, Hermes decided to act. Leaving his cradle behind, the newborn god traveled to Pieria, where Apollo kept his sacred cattle. Stealing from a god was unthinkable, especially for a baby. But Hermes planned carefully. He made the cattle walk backwards, confusing their tracks. Then he crafted sandals from bark to hide his own footprints. This wasn't chaos, it was strategy. By the time Apollo realized what had happened, the trail led nowhere. Hermes had committed the perfect crime, not through strength, but through intelligence. Apollo eventually discovered the truth and confronted Hermes. The newborn god responded with innocence, claiming he was far too young to steal anything. His logic was absurd and brilliant. The conflict was brought before Zeus. Instead of anger, Zeus felt amusement. He recognized something rare in Hermes, a mind capable of solving problems in ways even the gods did not expect. Rather than punishment, Zeus chose understanding. Hermes had crossed a line, but he had also proven his worth. Before the theft, Hermes had already created something extraordinary. Using a tortoise shell and strings, he invented the lyre, the first musical instrument of its kind. When Apollo heard the music, his anger faded. Hermes offered the lyre in exchange for the stolen cattle. What began as a crime ended as a negotiation. This moment defines Hermes. He doesn't simply take, he trades, adapts, and transforms conflict into opportunity. Impressed by Hermes' intelligence, Zeus appointed him messenger of the gods. Hermes became the link between worlds, Olympus, Earth, and the underworld. He guided travelers, protected merchants, and yes, watched over thieves. Hermes understood movement, exchange, and communication better than any other god. His role wasn't about control, it was about connection. Hermes' influence didn't end with mythology. Words like Hermetic and symbols like the caduceus still carry his legacy. Trade, travel, communication, and clever negotiation all echo his story. In a world that often celebrates power, Hermes reminds us that intelligence can be just as transformative. Sometimes the most influential force isn't strength, it's knowing how to think differently. Hermes' story is not about theft, it's about adaptability, creativity, and the courage to challenge expectations. A newborn god reshaped destiny, not by force, but by insight. Perhaps that's why his story still resonates today. Because intelligence, when used wisely, can open doors no strength ever could. Which Greek god's story should we explore next?